Right, let's go then with another one. We're going to try and model this Funko Nun today. I've got my Epic pen. Unfortunately, screencast keys doesn't work for Blender 5, so I've not found a fix for that yet. Just adjust this mic. Let's hide this camera and light for now. Let's adjust this. So let's get right into this Funko Nun then. Show wireframe. And I haven't got tons of reference for this Nun. I've got a bit on my other monitor. We're in layout mode. Probably my mic's just slipping here. Right, so let's go for it. As I say, I got about 7 or 8 images on my other monitor. Only pretty much front views. But let's just get in there then, give it a go. How things turn out when you apply some pressure. Is it a song that? There it is. So into edit mode. And start adding a few loop cuts to this cube that you get on startup. So there you go, something like that. We've got our X there. Let's just check that we're in the right. Yeah, you want the X to go, like I've said before, across there. Make sure that's your X, which is red. And you can model both sides then. So yeah, we're all ready to rock. Let's try and get this head shape in there then first. So, some simple box modelling. Just analyse this head shape. I think what we could do. Now we won't add a subdivision just yet. But we can go into Sculpt mode. Make sure you go to CTRL A. All transforms to deltas with 0 when you go into Sculpt mode. It's G for our grab brush. Let's just start shaping this, and if you click smooth there, I like to set that to about 0.35 and it doesn't destroy it as much when you smooth out. So G for grab. F to resize. Let's just start shaping this a little bit. It's at least in the ballpark for a head. So F to resize. Quickly pull out these. Shift. You can hold shift to smooth out. And as I say, I haven't got many side views on this in my reference. I'm just faking the side, as it were. There's some muscle memory on profile view of a face, really. Smooth. Just look at this, the chin's coming down there. Chin down, that kind of goes up. This comes out. Looks like it's quite big, this head. She's going to have like a, not a veil, I'm not sure, like some kind of material over the head. Let's just adjust this reference. I think the head will take the longest on this. And then I think what we will do, we'll add, generate subdivision surface. Yeah, something like that. And I like to turn this on and off, this subdivision surface, but let's get the basic head shape in there. Definitely quite wide, his head. Quite a pointy chin. This goes up. Kind of. We need to think about the eyes. That's what we can do. Grab a draw brush. F. Control to dig inwards. Let's just at least start pulling in an eye shape. It's lower than that actually. Just increase that to 0.65. Bring that back up because the eye looks like it's pretty much mid. Sort of in the middle. So this bit will be a brow coming out. And the brow coming out there. Brow out. F. Hold Control to pull that in. She's got a little nose. But you could have that nose separate, really. Brush, draw, hold Control, dig in. Bring that out. J, F. Let's knock off the subdivision. What we could do, we could apply that so we've applied the subdivision, which just give us a bit more resolution. Grab our draw brush, start digging in here a bit. Not too much though. Brow there. Digging in there. Digging in. J, F, bring this down. Bring this up a bit. Inflate. Just inflate this out a bit. Draw. Look from the side. J for grab. What we can do now is go to Add Mesh, UV Sphere. $90. Move that up there. Scale. And that to there. Yeah, bring that up. It seems quite big, that eye. The eyes are. It's like a blackness. And then the yellow. Maybe something around that size. Somewhere around there. Generate the mirror modifier. Choose the head. Go. Control A, all transforms to deltas. And we'll go back into what we'll do now. I think we'll go to generate subdivision 2. Let's give us more resolution, hasn't it there now? Let's just start pulling this shape. No. That's going in a bit too much, this eye. Let's forward slash to isolate. Bring this back out. It's not as deep, then we can just paint in blackness. I'm just looking at the reference, this brow is coming down there. I'm just pulling stuff around with the grab brush. If we go to, I don't know which one it is, draw. Just draw in there, GF, a little triangle kind of shape there. As I say, I haven't really got a side view for this, but we're only going to see it from the front anyway. And you can turn off your wireframe if you want, but I like to have wireframe on, don't ask me why, but I wonder if the clay brush might give us a bit of just clay. Let's just see what it gives us. Hold control now. Clay's not really. Just use draw. Bring this down. And she's actually got, I don't know if we should paint the mouth in or model it, I'm just not sure. Bring this up, just sort the eye area out for now. We could go to draw sharp, set that to about 0.3. Turn that wireframe off. Maybe just cutting. .5. Smooth out. Just trying to cut in a little brow section there. Smooth. Let's think about this mouth then. We can try modelling it. I'm not sure we got enough resolution. Let's try and increase that to 3. Draw. Control to dig inwards. Choosing draw to dig in. Hold control and dig inwards. I'm just not sure there's really enough resolution to be modelling the mouth. We may be better off painting it in. Let's grab our let's grab our grab brush. See if we can get the shape. Using the grab brush, just moving things around to get the shape of this mouth. And obviously we need to add teeth as well to this. So that's the problem with modelling it. Gives you a lot more work. Really. Whereas if you paint it in the texture, not as much work as modelling it. Just bring the brow out there. Let's have a look at this shape again. It seems to go that kind of thing. And down. And if we go to draw, just add a little bit more volume around there. It's something like that, the mouth. Control S to save. None. So we need some work really. There's Alt Q. Switch between meshes. We need a bit more work around this eye and that. That's the basic shape of the head. We'll just leave it like that for now. The head. Chin's a little bit pointy there. That comes up there. That comes out a little bit there. Still feel as if this is a bit too sunken in. We're not going to see that much from the side, so it doesn't really matter that much. Still not 100% correct. Inflate. Just add a little bit of form there. That's not too bad. I do feel we need a little bit more form on the eye. Just bring that out there. I suppose we can paint that in a bit darker, can't we? The form around there. So that's the basic head. Control S to save. Let's try and get a basic. Add mesh cube. Scale. Scale this. Bring it up. Let's maintain a bit of volume on it. Let's go to edit mode. Insert a few loop cuts. It looks like it. Let's enable X. Make sure you go to see through, you can grab them all. Bring that back, bring that down. It looks like it goes all the way. This file thing. And rotate them vertices. Rotate. Forward. Down. It's got to come down at the sides as well. So let's grab these three, down, these two, down, just checking what vertices we got. Let's bring these all the way down here. Then we need more geometry, so let's add loops in there. Go into edge mode there. Select edge loops. Scale them out. Bring them up. It looks a bit flat there, so select edge loops. Rotate that. Let's grab these vertices here. bring them out. You got some volume to it. It looks like these two come up here. These two up. These down. These in here. And this gotta come down by the looks of it. Control S to save. It's like that's. Let's go to. It's had a bit more geometry there. Adding some edge loops in. Grab them two, bring it up. Should have mirrored it really. Bring these up. The thing doing stuff on the fly, you never get it 100% perfect sometimes. There you want it. So that's got some volume. These could maybe come down here. So you want some volume before you add a subdivision. So what we could do now, we could go to right click and shade smooth. Need to shade smooth on these as well. Generate subdivision surface. Control A, all transforms to deltas into sculpt mode. Grab brush. Just start shaping this a bit. Maybe go to a levels of 2 in viewport. That's some more geo. So just G pulling this file around a bit. Looking at the reference. Something along the lines of that. Looks like it comes down a bit more. A little bit twisted there. So just shift to smooth. Shift to smooth it out. What you can do, you can turn that off and just turn it off, on and off there. The middle one. It'll be twisted, isn't it, there? Find where the twist is, really. We're going to edit mode, see better. Just try and bring these. Let's have a look. It's got to go that way. Just trying to tidy this up. Not perfect, but let's just go with that for now. Actually, knock X off so it's not as contrived. You can tweak this a bit more. Bring this X there, bring this in. Let's have a look at the reference. Kind of. This comes in. It looks a bit bigger to me. Something like that. Bring that out a bit. Right, a bit of better silhouette. Let's just go with that on the veil for now. Do feel like it should all be a bit bigger. Kind of like that. Scale it a bit, scale it up a little bit. Something along the lines of that. Bring everything up. Like with a basic veil, not perfect. We can tweak that a bit. So what do we need to do now? Let's try and get a basic body in there. So again, add mesh cube. Let's just look at this reference. Let's have a swig of tea. Simple cube modelling again. We'll just leave it there for now. We can see it better. Let's go into edit mode and start adding a few loop cuts. See-through mode. So kind of, that's going outwards a bit. Interface mode. Let's extrude that up. Scale that. That goes back in. We're just looking at the reference. That goes back in. Into vertex mode. Somewhere along the lines of that. Scale it a bit. It starts to come out then. Kind of for the hips. So out. Down. Down. Scale. Come out of transparent mode, right click to shade smooth, into sculpt mode, enable X, just start smooth, it's a touch, out, in, there. Doesn't matter that much about the back, so we're not going to see it. Tapping smooth. This kind of comes out here. Let's knock off X. Because this bit comes out. And then this bit goes in. That's going up. We want this to go up. Not going to see any legs. No legs on the reference, it's just kind of a cloak, gown kind of thing. Now we need to start looking at the proportions and it goes. Look at it from other views, check the roundness of it. Tapping smooth. This is going in. Kind of like to, I don't know, there kind of thing. Obviously that needs to come in a bit. And there, in the back pushing out. Just there, tap smooth. checking the reference. So I think this needs to come up a lot more. And the proportions are off a bit. We'll adjust that, bring that up. Let's / to isolate a selection on that. Let's go into edit mode, face mode. Let's think about an arm. Select these two. Right click. Extrude face along normals. Insert a few edge loops. Back into sculpt mode. Actually, let's go back into edit mode and add another loop along there. We've got a bit more geometry. Into sculpt mode. F to resize. Tapping smooth to create a bit of roundness to the arm. And she's in a bit of a pose, but really we should be rigging this. Let's just see if we can pull it into place. There's kind of one where her hands are forward, sort of there. Then there's another one where her hands are down here. So, not really sure which one to do. Tap smooth. Keep bringing this down here. And then we could try masking it. But because we haven't got a lot of geometry, mask, smooth mask, mask, invert mask. And they used to, I don't know if it's changed now, but there used to be like a pose brush. Pull, pose, is that it? Pose. If you use that pose, not perfect, but at least gives you something, doesn't it? Mask, clear mask, GF. F to resize, tapping smooth. Tapping smooth there for the back. / to isolate. We'll see how it looks in context with the rest of it. Tap smooth. We need to put a piece of cloth along there. Let's just see what we can do with these arms here. Tapping smooth. / to isolate. Let's try and create a bit of a C curve maybe. G, F to resize. There might be a bit of a C curve. We could have one of them subtle C curve and the other one the other way, or would it be better having them maybe both like that? C curve going that way. Tap smooth. tap smooth. And then if we / we need to look at proportions because they're a bit off there. Let's just look at this reference. This needs to come down. Something like that. It should be on the floor maybe. We might have a levitating up a bit, not sure here. Just tapping smooth. Needs to be thinner from the side. F to resize and tap smooth. Shift, by the way, to smooth out. Just hold shift. And then I think all this needs to be bigger. Real big head these Funko characters have. If you go into, let's control A all transforms to deltas first. In edit mode. A to select all, X. Edit mode. A to select all, you want that X to be at 0. And you got it nice and mirrored then. Everything's nice and mirrored. Edit. Vertex A to select all. 0 just to move it. Let's have a look at the proportions. Still not perfect, but really big these heads. Maybe something like that. Control S to save. Just have a swig of tea. It'll be over an hour again, this tutorial. I don't know how people do them so fast really, but I'm not really that fast, to be fair. Let's add a subdivision surface. Go back into Sculpt mode. And you'll notice there, you need to control A all transforms to deltas. You got no values on it. Let's just start pulling this about a bit. Put that up to 2, a bit more resolution. We'll try a multi-res in the future as well. You can add like a multi-res modifier. It does bump up makes it a bit laggy, the multi-res. So this up there, down, this down here, increase that to 3. Not really getting much needs to be more cloth-like, doesn't it there? Smooth in. So draw inwards, holding control, and outwards. G, F. Just reshaping stuff, that's a bit too much, isn't it? It'll be too boxy really, to smooth out. And these shoulders have got to, the C6 grab. This has got to come up more. This. And that. Something along the lines of that. But this has got to come out. So you've got to have that going in there. She's got like a belt thing on, so that's got to go in there. Then it's got to come out. So what we could do, edit mode, insert another loop, just scale that loop, bring it up a bit, add another loop, scale it a bit, go into edge mode, select edge loops, scale this one in, touch, and select that edge loop. It hasn't selected all the way around, so shift select, select edge loops, bring that in, then back into sculpt mode, just tweak it a bit, smooth. And these arms, a bit short, aren't they? So bring them down. Knock off X, inflate this arm a bit, give it a bit more volume. Tap smooth. GF. Moving stuff around. Tapping smooth. Feel that should be going in. And we need to start thinking about hands as well. So that's the basic structure. Of the body. Control S to save. Should the hands be separate? Probably should be, to be honest. What we'll do, it's not perfectly symmetrical. We'll bring these out so as if she's got a sleeve on the thing. Same with this side. Just using the grab brush to bring it out. So she's kind of got a sleeve. Grab that middle one, bring it in. Middle one, bring it in. Maybe go into edit mode and add a loop cut there, which you can scale a little bit. Then add another loop cut there, scale it a bit. Now she's got some sleeves, hasn't she now? Looks a bit crushed, doesn't it there? We're still not really getting, because it's low, quite low res. We're not getting the material feeling as much. We've got the sleeves. Inflate, just to bring them sleeves out a bit. Then I'll control, withdraw, bring them in. And let's think about these. Need to tweak this pose. These arms. What we need to do, as I say, is think about the hands. So, Control S to save. Add mesh cube. Bring it up here. We can see it. Scale. It looks like she's got a proper 5-fingered hand. So we've got more work to do here now. We've got let's go into face mode. Extrude. That can be the thumb. And we want four fingers. So face mode. Select that face. Extrude. Bring it out a bit. Select that face. Extrude. That one. Extrude. And the last one. Extrude. Extruding them separately. We'll get a little separation. I think we should add a few loops in there so we've got a bit more geometry to play with. There's just different ways of going about things, really. Edit mode. Add a bit more geo in here. Now what's that going to be like if we apply a subdivision to that? Not too bad. So let's go into Sculpt mode. Control A, all transforms to deltas. Always forget that. Let's just start moving this hand about a bit. So it's really like a boxy there, isn't it? So let's just move it about. I'll move the proportions about. I remember the middle finger's the longest. And that should be coming out there a bit. Knuckles pushing out, that back in. And go to inflate. And then hold Control to deflate. Tapping smooth around there. F, G to grab. G. Because they're quite close together, it's awkward. A tap smooth. You're probably best doing it in edit mode, really, there. Vertex. Hide the cage. Try and create a bit more separation between these fingers. Just move the vertexes a bit. / to isolate selection. Just moving the vertexes about. So you got a bit more room between the fingers to play with. I mean, I'm no expert modeler, more of an animator, but probably better ways to do things. If you had more resolution, you could mask it and move it. Just moving these vertices, create some more separation between the fingers. Bring this down, this up a bit. If we go into there, we've got a bit more separation, haven't we, there? We could select all them, move that over, select them, move it over, these two over, these, scale, 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 scale that thumb, scale that, bring that out a bit, this down into sculpt mode, Control S to save. We'll do with inflating that a bit, add a bit more volume. Far from perfect them fingers, but G to grab, inflate there, too thick from there, so G to grab, bring them in, they're not as thick. Because we're not in high resolution, we haven't got tons of resolution to play with here. But let's try and add them to the, extend these a bit. Let's go back into edit mode, give ourselves a bit more geometry by adding some loops, and back in sculpt mode. They're not going to be perfect, these fingers, far from it. Forward slash, and let's look at the, obviously, scale, bring it to there, delete on the numpad to zoom in, forward slash, scale, scale, rotate this, rotate, bring it to there, bring that to there, then we need to create some variation in these fingers. So what I'm going to do in a few minutes is I'm going to duck out, do a bit of polish, and add a few more things. I shall come back. I shall tell you what I've done, but just before I do that, let's go back into sculpt mode and just move this out. And then in edit mode, face mode, let's maybe select these and extrude these, so it at least looks like she's got an arm going up into the sleeve, doesn't it then? Forward slash. We need to pose them fingers a bit. Need to tweak this cloth, make it more cloth-like. And we need to add a veil thing around there, similar to what we done. Yeah, we need to add a belt as well. Keep going around all your views, tweaking stuff. That hasn't got much volume, has it there? So, do that. Enable X if you want it to happen both sides. So what I'm going to do now then, is I'm just going to duck out for a little while. And come back after I've done a bit of polish and added a few things on this. So, I'll be back very soon and explain what I've done. We do need to think about teeth as well. So I shall probably add some cubes to there as well and come back and show you what I've done with that. You've got all the bases in place now of how you go about adding these meshes. So, be back soon. Right, so I'll bring you back on now and just explain some of the things I've done. Done a bit more tweaking on this hand here. And I added a mirror modifier to put it to the other side. So mirror modify the hand. Still need to do a bit of tweaking on the hand, but what you can do, you can go in on this hand, Alt Q by the way, to select the different meshes. Inflate's quite good for the hand. You just go around and do a bit of an inflating on the fingers there. Far from perfect the hand, still got to do a bit of a clean up on it. As you can see there from that angle, it's twisted. So we'll do a bit more polish on that hand. But the bulk of it's there. I just added a cube there and a subdivision modifier and just shaped this bit of cloth that goes underneath. I've adjusted the proportions a bit, just made this, scaled the head a bit, it matches the reference a bit more, this head bigger. And done a bit of tweaking on just around the brows, still not perfect, but just mainly the move brush or grab brush there. If you press G, you got your grab brush. Now I've done a bit of tweaking again on the body. Just worked on the silhouette a bit. Nothing complex again either, just a grab brush. And I've added like a belt here, that's just a cube there. This is actually, I added a Bezier curve for that. So what you can do, if you go to add curve Bezier, it gives you a curve here. If you go into edit mode, you can move this curve and the tangents around. So you can just shape it around. You can actually extrude. You can add more dots to it. Really good curve. So you can use that for your belt. And if you go to the curve data there, you can extrude it like that. So you can extrude it. And if you go in then to a modifier, generate solidify, you can add a thickness to it. So that's a good way of adding the belt. That could have been probably done for that veil and other stuff. So I'm bringing you back. So what we need to do now is push on and keep working as usual, because there's more stuff now in this reference. We need to add, I suppose what we could do, we could Shift D to duplicate that. Let's just zoom in on the reference a bit. Can't show you the reference, I don't want any copyright issues, but it's just the Funko Nun. So you can just get Google images onto that. So let's, we've duplicated that. Let's just try and move that a bit. She's got like a, not sure what it is, there's another piece of cloth kind of thing. F to resize. Just using G to move it about. Let's go into object mode and move it back to there. Spin around. Let's select them two and forward slash to isolate it. Let's go into sculpt mode. Just shape this a bit. So, object scale. Let's scale it and move it. If we go into sculpt mode, choose a grab brush. Object. It's quite something like that. But is it more? I mean, it looks more like that, really, in the reference. I'm wondering if we could do it like that. Smooth. Looks like he's going on a... goes across the shoulders as well, by the looks of it. Let's just smooth it out. Let's put it onto... yeah, and keep smoothing. Go back to 2, smooth. Grab brush to move it up. Over the shoulders. Smooth. Not as much. Forward slash, bring that back. F to resize, bring it back. Smooth. Not really going to see the back, but let's get it. So something like that. Not perfect. We'll do a bit of polishing on that. She's got like a... different sizes, because there's one that's kind of demonic. With like red on the face. It's not as big. It's bigger, yeah. Then the other one's smaller, so let's just go in between. Let's just put it something like that for now. We'll do a bit of polish on that. Control S to save. Looks like she's got a cross as well. Which we need to add. You could do that with the curve thing, I guess. But let's try and get these teeth in there. That's the most important thing, I think, now. Just bring that across the shoulder a bit more. Something along the lines of that. Alt Q to switch mesh. Just so you got a bit of a C curve in the arm. Need to break that up a bit so it's not dead symmetrical. We can do that in the polish. So let's look at these. Reminds me a bit of ET. That. We'll need to add a nose as well. Let's try and do a bit more on this face. Let's think about this mouth. Let's go to objects. Let's go to add mesh. Cube. I mean, most of the time I just work with cubes either. I think it's because I'm used to box modelling all them years ago. Let's scale this. Scale. into the mouth. Looking at the reference again. We've got, so there's gums and there's teeth. And I'll just bring this over just to show you that's what we modelling, look, the nun. So the proportions need adjusting a little bit. That's pure riff. Let's have a look at these. Gums. Edit mode. Let's just add a few loop cuts. Let's go generator, subdivision. Go into sculpt mode. Always get that non-uniform thing there. Annoying. X. Try and shape some gums a bit. Just create a bit of roundness there. We have to tweak that a bit. That can be the gums, but you need to really. It looks like if I select the faces here, try bevel. No, extrude will be better. Extrude, I mean. And then scale. I think that'll be better. /. We have to adjust this mouth as well. Hold control. And that'll take it inwards. So we've got Alt Q to switch back to the gums. It can be the gums. And the bottom gums aren't showing as much. Just use your grab, move that into place. F to resize. Bring that round there. Bit of roundness so it's wrapping onto the head. That could be the gums. If we increase that to 3, that'll give us a bit more geo. So that's not bad as a gums. We can do a bit of polish on that. So we need to think about teeth now. I'll just add a bit of blender hanging there, so let's really start the Bandicam. We've got our gums. I'm not really going to I don't really want to go into sculpt mode because of the geometry count. Well, I mean like dense mesh really, because of the can make it hang quite a bit on this one. I'm thinking let's just add a separate object for the teeth. We can just again go to add mesh cube. Let's just scale this cube a bit and bring it up here. Bring it out. Scale. Bring it out so you can see it. scale, scale, delete on the numpad to zoom into it. Now she's got bottom teeth and top teeth, so let's just go to edit mode, insert a loop there and a loop there, select edge loops, scale, select edge loops, just select the face instead. Going to see-through mode. Scale that. Scale. 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 Edit mode. Add another loop. Add another loop. If we go to generate subdivision surface, CTRL A, all transform to deltas. I remember to do it for once. Just go into sculpt mode, tap smooth. Let's try and get a bit of a spiky tooth. Could bring it out this way so it's not straight and linear. Then we could just move that into place. Something along the lines of that. And obviously again we'll do a bit of polish on it so it looks a bit better. It's a bit too big. You know, the reference looks like it's covers about half of the mouth. I'll scale that into sculpt mode. Values there again as usual. Smooth that a bit too much. So just tap smooth. And let's Shift D to duplicate. Move that up. Shift D to duplicate. Up. Shift D to duplicate. Up. Shift D to duplicate again. Then up. Then you could go out, in a bit more, in a bit more, in. You could maybe just rotate it a touch as well, like that. Maybe not quite as much. Bring that back in, up. Shift D on that, maybe to there, and then just scale them all. Some a little bit bigger, some a little bit smaller. Move that to there. Then what we could do maybe is go, we could forget the subdivision. Knock the subdivision off on all of them. Select them all. CTRL J to join. And then add your subdivision so you just got the one. Then you could also go to add modifier. Mirror. Choose the gum. Well, let's try the head. Same thing really. And just go for that. Then this one. Press CTRL L. Just move that in a bit. CTRL L. Move that in. Back into object mode. That can be your teeth. And we'll do a bit of tweaking on the teeth, but it's not perfect. What we can do, we can just go to apply the mirror. We can keep the subdiv. Into sculpt mode. And just do a bit of tweaking on the teeth so it matches the reference a bit more. So basically the gaps aren't quite as much to match the reference. Just using the grab brush. Delete on the numpad. Have a look there. We could go inflate. Just add a bit of inflation. And then tap smooth as well, so it's not as boxy. Inflate. Draw brush. Just tap in draw. We'll do a bit of tweaking on the teeth. That's the basic structure for the teeth. Now we also need to think of the bottom ones. So maybe we could Shift D, enter, rotate that there. Not sure what this is going to give, but let's rotate it to there. Let's bring it, let's go to global, bring it in. And then because of the C curve there, we haven't really got it at the bottom. So we can just grab a large F to resize, or a large grab brush. Just move it about. Looks like we've lost our symmetry there. That doesn't matter, create some variation anyway. So they're not, these bottom teeth, / to isolate, they're not spiky. So I'm not sure if this is gonna, let's just tap smooth on them all. Keep tapping smooth. So they're not spiky. And what you have to do then, you have to go in and just, after you've tapped smooth, to get them to a decent level so they're not as spiky. You're just tapping smooth, shift. So once you got them to a state like that, you can just go from that angle. Inflate or draw. Just draw, grab and use the various brushes just to move them so they're flat to match your reference. Basically just bringing them together. That's another thing we're going to have to tweak on the polish, is the teeth. That's the basic structure of them in place. At least they're in the ballpark, as it were. Bring them back into the gums and up. So it's at least matching it a bit. could have been scaled a little bit. Bring it up, Control S to save. That's the basic structure of the teeth. Need a bit of polishing for sure. So let's just look at the reference and see what we need next. She's got a nose. So add mesh cube, scale this cube, bring it up here, bring it out, bring it up. And it looks like he's not 100%. He's lost our symmetry a bit on the nun. Or have we? Looks like the head's a bit. We ain't got to worry about that. We're not rigging it or nothing, so. For this nose, we go into edit mode, insert a loop cut. Then grab this vertex here, bring that out, and then grab them and scale. Make sure you grab them all, scale. The nose is pretty much like that, but not quite as big, and it comes down there like that. That sort of thing for the nose. So edit mode. That's a knife cut, by the way. That's quite useful at times. We don't really need that. No, we'll just loop cuts the probably my favourite modelling tool, to be honest, loop cut. Edit, loop cut, and then that might be a bit much, the subdivision surface. If we go to 3, that may be alright. Just bring that down, enable X there. Looks like she's got a little bit of a F to resize, little bit of a nose wing. And the nostrils are flared a little bit. We can go into there and just bring this up a bit. Something along the lines of that for the nose. Draw sharp. Maybe run that. The old control draw sharp. It gives more of a crease there. Or something like that for the nose. Let's bring it in a bit more. X. Thanks to Peter out to wrong brush, G to grab. Seems to kind of like Peter out to pretty much nothing, the nose there. Tap smooth. Something like that. Bit of a strange nose, but that's what it's looks pretty much kind of like that. Maybe he's got to come down a bit, pretty much touching the gum. That's the teeth and the nose on the face. I'm thinking of adding another level there. If we go into Sculpt mode, Control S to save. All transforms to deltas. Sculpt mode. Draw sharp. Just wondering if you could get a little just around there, just tap, just draw sharp, get a bit of a brow in there, but we haven't really got, that's more in, and you got more geometry really like that. Haven't really got the geometry for that. Draw. Something along the lines of that. Nose looks a little bit weird, isn't it? It's a bit, it's a touch too big, maybe. That feels a bit better. Maybe just scale it a touch. Maybe go into edit mode. Just bring that down a little bit. And he's out. Just a touch. Control S to save. We've got a lot of the stuff in. I'm going to do a little bit more, a few little tweaks. Now, so just come back and explain what I've done when I've done a little bit of tweaking. Right, so I'm back after doing a bit of polish. What did I do on this? Just a bit of tweaking on the shape of the head. I'm not sure how it's going to look around here just yet on the render. There's like blackness around it. We can paint the blackness, but we'll see how it looks. You might have to add a bit of form around there. If you come out there, you go into Sculpt mode and use this crease sharp. You can just crease in round there, look. You get more of a bit of a brow. Just using the crease sharp. And if you look, if you go onto overlays, into your modifier and uncheck optimal display, you'll see the actual geo, this subdivision. You can do that. I've just used inflate just there to just add a little bit of a cheek. And just smooth out a little bit. Far from perfect, but might be alright hopefully. I've added a basic cube for a cross there. Done a bit of tweaking on the body, just added a bit more roundness. So if you look there, it's a bit flat before. There's at least a bit of roundness to it there. Added a bit more. If you go into Sculpt mode, draw. Actually, crease sharp is decent. If you hold Control, Alt Q to select that. If you hold Control, you'll dig outwards. And you can dig inwards. So crease sharp's decent. There's not too much geometry. There should be more, but it's not bad. But yeah, get a little shape in there. I've done a bit of tweaking on the arms, so it's a bit more of a nicer flow. Just tweaked a bit on the cloth there. I've added a cross from a simple cube. Now I've added a, if you go to add curve circle, I've added a circle that time around the neck. If you go to this data properties here, you can just extrude this out a bit. You can do the same as before, which was add a modifier, generate, solidify. Increase the thickness a bit. And although it's not perfect, that'll do really for the, possibly for the necklace part. Guess we could, we go into edit mode and just grab the vertex and just bring that up a bit, grab the tangent, bring that in, and bring the tangent on this in. And that's not too bad for that. Maybe not the sorry, blank keys. Thickness here. Extrude it, not quite as much. And bring the cross there. Remember to name all this. It's bad practice what I've done there. By just leaving it all as a cube. But I just haven't got time to be doing all that. But I will go in and rename. Oh yeah, bad practice really on that. You could just tweak that just a bit so it's not quite as straight. Control A, all transforms to deltas. And that is pretty much the structure of everything. That's all the modelling in place, I think. Obviously we're not going to see that. That should go all the way around, but not too worried about that. We need to think about some materials and painting really next on this. But let's just double check everything and look at the proportions as well. Just make sure I've grabbed everything on the head there. Still feel as if this should be a little bit bigger, the head. Just bring it so it's bang on central. I think this G, just a little bit of tweaking on that smoothie. You're not going to see the back. So yeah, just go around, do a little touch more tweaking, a little bit more roundness there. That's not too bad. But yeah, we need to look into getting some nice colours on it next. So let's think about that. So let's start thinking about materials then. So the main painting we're going to be doing is just going to be on the head. So let's forward slash to isolate this head. Let's go into, let's turn off our subdivision. A little bit creased around there. Yeah, we're in UV editing. So let's go into edit mode. Select loops, edge loops, right click, mark seam. So we're unwrapping this head. It's not going to be like some perfect unwrapping job or anything. Just enough so we can do a bit of painting on it really. So selecting all these edges here, right click, mark seam. A to select all in face mode, A. U to unwrap, minimum stretch. Now that's unwrapped the head there, so we can paint on that head now. So we'll go into object mode. We'll put our subdiv back on. And let's material. Let's minus that and create a new material. head. We'll go into shading, Shift A, texture, image texture, new. Let's just make it 4K, so we've got a nice bit of resolution. Head paint, new image, plug that, so colour into base colour, and you can control right click to cut the noodle. You plug your head paint into your base colour, and we can go back into layout, and it'll be black to start. Let's just isolate this head. Oops, just bang my mic there. If we go to texture paint, increase our brush size, let's look at the colour we need. So, what sort of colour has she got? It's like a pale. Maybe a little bit of redness. Just a pale really, let's try that. We paint hard. We might need to just knock our subdivision down a little bit. I just tapped paint hard there, and he's just thinking about it because of the resolution of the head. So let's just see if we don't crash. Oh, don't crash, come on. You might be crashing out, so which we could probably do with going into modify and just knock the subdivision down one, because it's a 4K texture and there might be quite a bit of resolution on the head. We might need to restart. I'll give you another 20 seconds. I'm going to have to restart on that. Right. We're going to your subdivision, knock that down to 2. We haven't got as much resolution, look. We've knocked that down to 2. You can go to fill that colour. Let's come out of isolation and just see in context. So that's the base colour. Need to get the lights done. So that's the base colour. Let's grab like a blackish. Let's select our brush, paint, soft. F to adjust the brush size. Let's paint some black around the eye. Knock the strength down, see what that gives. Paint some black around the eye. Make sure you got X enabled so you paint on both sides. Just painting some blackness around the eye with a soft brush. So soft brush, paint around the eye. Just looking at the reference, we could go into smear, set the strength there, F to resize, just smear it a bit. Smear that blackness across. Knock the strength down on your brush. Keep painting this blackness around the eye. And then very low intensity there, and kind of like goes around there, even lower intensity I think, sort of just around that brow bit. There's some blackness on the brow there, so paint that in. Smear it a touch. Back into your paint soft with a very low intensity. Looks like there's a little bit of blackness there on it. Knock the strength up a touch. Paint a bit more blackness in around the eye. Shift to isolate selection. She goes this way a bit. We need to just tweak the proportions on the cloth for that. You're not going to see this, that doesn't matter. Forward slash. We can assign the nose the same as the head. Now we need to go to increase the strength. Brush size right down. And she's got some marks there. So sort of, let's try a few strokes. That's a bit much. You need to come out of mirror, because you have to sign both sides. That kind of thing. That's too thick. Kind of like peters out, doesn't it? It needs to be, strength's a bit more. Just trying to get this right. Just can't get the right thickness. Like this. Maybe try increasing the strength a bit. Some kind of slashes, isn't it? In there? Something along the lines of that. Not perfect, but something like that. Maybe draw them a bit thicker. Well, more bold, kind of. Something like that. Maybe tablet pressure down and then peter it out. Something along the lines of that. Something like that. Let's knock the strength down. Right down. Just try and paint in on the brow a bit there again. And just on the brow there. Something along the lines of that. I'll do a bit of polishing probably on it, but it's along the lines of that. For the head. Strength right down. Just paint a bit more. Not that much. A bit more black. And then strength right up. And then really paint real blackness in there. Control S to save. And I'll do a bit of tweaking on the texture. Polish pass. It's something along the lines of that. You can smear. So just to make it more of a gradient, I guess. Lines aren't perfect, but should be alright from a distance. So that can be the simple texture map for the head. That's how we'll do a bit of tweaking on it. Let's think about this here. Let's go to the material, new. Let's just create a black material there. Don't never have it dead black. Let's have it there. That can be black. Material 1, mustn't it? That can be a black. This is a kind of brown colour. Like a dark brown wood kind of colour. That's material 2. Let's go to that. Material 2. 2. That can be the belt. Hands. Wonder if we could have, let's have a look if we saw in the head. Then we have to mess about with the UV. So really we want, let's go into texture paint. See what colour that was. Come out of here. Grab our pipette. Oh, that's the colour of that. So we can copy that X value. Minus that. Go to new. Base colour. Paste. And you got the material 3 for the hands. That necklace can be the same as the brown. New. Let's have the roughnesses. 0.1. Bit of a metallic, sorry. Control S to save. That can be the same as the hand. And we need some gum material. That can be dark reddish kind of colour. Teeth are a sort of whitey yellow. whitey yellow. Maybe not quite as yellow. Maybe a touch more yellow. That. Be a little off-white kind of colour. Aim for that. And the eyes. Oh, like a evil yellow, isn't they? They're like yellowy. The yellowy eyes. Something like that. I mean, add some emission to that. I mean, it's also assign. We'll go to, sorry, wrong one. Plus there. Plus new. Make that pretty much black. If we go into edit mode, we can go overlays up. Grab that and that. That's a different. Go to assign. There you go. Something like that. Isn't it? I think maybe that should be maybe a bit bigger. I think we need a bit more blackness around there. I think we need some blackness in the mouth. But that's the bulk of it in place. The materials. So what I'll do a little bit of a clean up and polish on it. And also just come back and tell you what I've done. Alright, I'm back on again then after doing a few more tweaks. What did I do then? So I've gone into my animation tab now, which I love. You know that you're really getting somewhere when you go into that. I've been working in layout mode, but if you go into animation, you've got your camera, timeline and 3D view. So anyway, what did I do? I added some blackness in the mouth here. If you go into material, just plus to add another one. I've named everything here instead of just cube 1, cube 2. None correction with everything in. Cameras and lights there. On these eyes, I added a blackness around the rim because on the reference there's a blackness around there. Painted a bit more blackness into the eyes on the texture map. Done a bit more tweaking on the structure. A bit more roundness here and on there. I've nothing complex, just broke up the silhouette here, so it's a little bit different, bit of an S-curve there. Brought that out a bit more, so you got a bit more material there. Tweaked a bit of the head, scaled it a little bit, and added a few more creases here. Basically some stuff like that, just going around tweaking and polishing, and that's what 3D is all about. A lot of back and forth. You can see that hand's cutting into there a bit. If we just go into sculpt mode, Alt Q, grab brush, move that a bit. So we got now geo cutting in. Doesn't matter about the back so much. But yeah, just going around doing a bit of tweaking and polishing. Change the proportions a bit. Added a bit more, bit of polish on the cloth. And that's a good one. Crease sharp. If you hold control, you can bring it out or in. So that's good for adding a few little creases there. And I added a few little creases here, as if it's the belt's pulling it in. So yeah, that's that. Control S to save. So what do we want to do now? Well, let's create a little animation. I'm thinking we should like to work in grey mode. Oh, and what I also done, the camera and the light you get to start with, I just moved it. I just moved the light up here, the point light. I haven't even changed the values yet. I just moved the light and then move the camera. So if you move that camera, you'll get it in your camera view there. I'll just move the camera and light for now. Let's just go into materials. That's what the lighting's like. We haven't even started that yet. So I'm thinking, should we do a little animation for it? Just hide that collection, the camera and light. And what can we do? Let's go Shift S. Cursor to selected. Let's go Shift A, Armature, single bone. So we got a single bone there. Edit mode on this bone. Let's move that up a bit so we can see it. Go into the running man. Viewport display in front so we can see the bone. We could have a bone for the head and a bone for the body, couldn't we? So let's select the body. Shift S, cursor to selected. Grab this, edit mode, Shift D, Shift D, enter. And that could control the body. So we've got a body bone and a head bone. Not going to be anything complex on this animation. So let's go to head. Let's check all the values first. Control A, all transforms to deltas. Select everything. Control A, all transforms to deltas. On this solidify, let's apply it. Let's hide that, let's call it Nun rig and just hide it for now. Let's apply these modifiers. Solidify, apply. Cannot apply constructive modifiers on a curve. Right, convert curve to mesh. Let's not worry about that for now. Let's just check the values. Yeah. So let's select. Not sure you can assign a curve to a bone. Have a look. So we want it parented. Let's go Control P, bone. If we select all the head stuff, nose, head, Control P, bone, all transforms. If we go into pose mode, is that? So it's assigned everything. So everything's assigned to that bone there. So let's grab that. That. Control P, bone. It looks like everything's assigned to that body bone at the moment. If we go to edit mode, Control P, keep offset, we need to now assign you want to select that and that. Select all the head stuff. There. In that. pose mode, Control P, bone. Now everything there is assigned on that head and to that. Yep, that's right. That's how we want it. You got a head bone. And the body is moving everything. So we could create a little maybe levitating animation, couldn't we, for this? Oh, so there's our bones we've created. Oh yeah, body, head. Levitating animation, just very basic, up and down. So we could go, let's have it as, go into our timeline, have it at about, let's try 80 frames, auto key on, A to select all, I, all channels. So, okay. Copy, paste, truncate the last one. And maybe halfway, 40-ish, somewhere. Could go up. Just a basic up and down. Let's just have it so you can, instead of looking at you a bit more like that. Or should it be like that? It's like that. Maybe the head could be down a bit. Copy, paste. So it's there, and it could be the other way, like that maybe. There. So it's levitating. Obviously, copy, paste. I to select all, I, all channels, copy, paste, they're the same. Just a very simple animation. So, it's 24 FPS. I think it's going up a bit far. You want it subtle, if you ask me. Just have it. Let's go into the graph editor there. View, only selected, don't show the cursor. So, local, you can see it's Y. That changed. It used to be an up arrow, but now it's the down arrow. They're always changing things, Blender. Absolutely love it. But I shouldn't keep changing stuff. Let's just drag these handles a bit of hang time. And then there was a rotation. Is there a little rotation? Yep, Z. It comes up in the body back. What about if you went the other way? No, that's too far, I think. So, up. Now let's look at the head. Move that down. Have that somewhere like there. Drag them handles out. Very simple animation. Still think it should be more subtle, really. Just levitating up and down. And what we could also do is go into our Emission. We could key that. Keyed there. Then at 80, keyed again. And in the middle, if we increase it to 1, see what it gives. So the eyes are pulsing a bit. Not sure about the rotation. You could have it. Tone that down. I think it should be very subtle, really. And just out of interest, what about if we moved it so she's looking down? We could try it. And she's looking up. I think I might prefer it like that. So that can be the simple animation, maybe. Let's go to Add Mesh, Plane, scale this. Timeline, come out of keyframe mode. Edit, grab your, extrude it. Up there. Control B, bevel. And choose load of segments. Right click and shade smooth. New. Not really thought about the background. Maybe like a reddish colour, kind of. From hell. If we go into lit mode, quite dark. Let's bring our camera and light. Start messing about with the lights. So I'll do a little bit more tweaking and come back and tell you what I done on that. So I'll just bring you back for the end bit to show you what I've done. I've adjusted the head really. So on this body, if you click F3 and go to motion path calculate, I've done it so it goes round here. There's a little bump. I just need to adjust that. So I've adjusted the timing, so let's go into location. Copy, paste onto 70, delete them. If you go over there and go to add modifier, it's a cycles modifier, which means that everything cycles. So cycles, little loop then. So that's just going round on that bone. I just decided it's a bit comedy kind type. So cycles. I just had like a quick nodding head, really. May just the timing a bit slow it down, but I decided just to have a, like the nodding heads. Don't know why, that's what I decided in the end. But that's that for the animation. Just up and down sort of thing, round, and the nodding head. May just tone it down a little bit. I may not even keep it like that, I'm not sure, but it's gone on quite long, this tutorial, so I don't want to keep changing things. And then lighting wise, if we go into lights, scaled up this plane a bit. I've added an emission to the cross there. If you look at the, go into your materials there, got an emission of 5. You could have it higher, but I'm just going to leave it at 5. A little bit of light from the cross. Here is just 4,000 to be honest. I change it to an area light from a point light. So change point to area. 4,500 with a blue tinge. I was thinking of having uplighting horror type, but I want to keep it simple. Adjusted the size so the shadows are a bit softer, not as sharp. And obviously the emission on the eyes is just going back and forth. And I adjusted the material. So this here, if you go into your material, the roughness I've increased it to 0.8, so it's more material like, less shiny. But then for the teeth, I decreased the roughness to 0.2, so there's a bit of shine for the teeth if you look. If you just look there, you got a bit of shine, haven't you, on the teeth, and the gums are a bit shiny, and that's more matte like the material there. I mean, the reference has got a white thing around there, and the white's back. The back's white of the thing, so I may just adjust that before I render. But that's pretty much everything for that nun. So I'll get that rendered out and get that onto Instagram, I think. So that's the end of the Nun one. It went on a bit longer than I thought he would, that, but there was quite a bit to get through. So I hope you enjoyed that one, guys. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Then some render settings, remember cycles, GPU compute, 4096 samples, accurate, your pre-filter, and just check your denoise. So yeah, that's it, just a nodding Funko Nun. Background, I think. Not too bad, you could lighten it a touch or go with whatever you want. But yeah, that's the nodding Funko Nun with a simple little looped animation. So there you go. I'll see you on the next one, guys. I'll just quickly bring you back a minute. I noticed that the colour of the nose wasn't quite the same as the head. So I've just assigned the head texture to the nose. You'll have to just adjust the UVs, just unwrap it and scale it down to match the nose. And what I've also added is, if you go into animation, I think a tilt would be quite fun on the head. If you look at the head, I've tilted it a bit. And then as it goes, yeah, it tilts the other way. It's kind of a rocking Funko Death Nun. Yeah, it's the head's tilting like that. Yeah, quite fun. So yeah, that's it guys. So I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot. Peace. See you soon.